I can only imagine how interesting of a seat you must be in right now, seeing all of this tariff talk and knowing that you were in that seat in Secretary Lutnick's position just a couple of years ago. If you were thrown back in as Commerce Secretary now, what would you do immediately? A, and B, seeing all the market volatility when it comes to these tariffs, does that concern you at all?
The objectives now, as I said, are more all-encompassing than what we had. So that means the negotiations will also be more complicated. For example, last time we weren't tying defense spending by target countries as a particular part of tariff negotiations. President has made clear that with the European countries, he wants them to step up the percent of GDP that they use for defense, and he's prepared to use trade tariffs as a weapon for doing that. So that adds another whole set of dimensions, because how do you balance how much benefit you get from the trade part as opposed to how much benefit you get from the non-trade part, like defense spending?
And my second part of the question was, are you concerned about the market volatility that we're seeing since the tariff plan was rolled out?
The reason for the market volatility has been A, the inherent uncertainty of the process. B, people were surprised with the extent of the initial batch. They were surprised at the rates, the tariff rates, some of which were quite high by historical standards, and they were surprised at how extensive it was. You saw some of the jokes about there were tariffs put in on a little island that doesn't have any people. It just has some animals on it. So they were maybe overly comprehensive.
Secretary, my final question to you is, tariff talks have been ongoing now and they have been the top headlines for months. Do you think anything is missing from the national and international dialogue when it comes to President Trump's tariff plan?
Well, I think you have to take Trump's economic policies as an overall entity, and there's a very important offset to the impact of tariffs, and that's his tax bill. The tax bill would not only make permanent the corporate and individual rate reductions that were put in during the first term, but they also would make Social Security payments tax-free. They would make overtime payments tax-free, whole bunch of things. Now, those two items are very powerful economic stimulators because people on Social Security have a very high propensity to consume. So the extra money that you give a retiree pretty much will get spent very, very quickly, and therefore will be stimulatory to the economy. Making overtime tax-free would also have that benefit, but it would have another further benefit, which is simply stepping up industrial production and making it more efficient, because your variable costs are not nearly as extensive as the fixed costs.